Hi there, all my friends and listeners. Welcome to Waxing with Wade. This is episode number 88, and I do realize it's been 4.5 weeks since my last episode. I apologize for that. This is the only episode I will be filming and posting in April, and this is the last day of April. Anyway, I'm really glad to bring you this album. Many of you are probably thinking, what were you waiting for? 88th episode? Insult? No. Sorry, I'm just now getting to this one. It kind of sat on the back burner for a while. Van Halen and their debut album from 1978. Let me just show you the back with David Lee Roth doing his best Robert Plant impersonation, I think. And this credits, and unfortunately, like several albums I have, which is a head scratcher, but it has to do with the production and the record label, whatever. They have a list of songs that are on it, but they're not in any order, and they don't match the sides. 1978, and this was just happened to be sitting there because I was playing it last night, and Boston's second album from 78, same year. Their first album predated Van Halen by 2 years, and Van Halen, this album, and I'll get back to Boston in just a second. This album is really important in rock history, and I have to give it its due. It really was influential and kind of changed rock and roll, or was one of the bands that was changing rock and roll. And this was like a blueprint for the hair band of the 80s, I think. Especially by the time they got to their second and third albums. This one was really rocking, I have to say. This is their most rocking album, their best album by far, in my opinion. Their first album, which, you know, if each album in someone's opinion is getting a little weaker as they go, and then they just fall off, like to me Van Halen did, they're not gonna be one of my favorite bands of all time. But I am always going to love this album, the second album, Women and Children First, their third album, these were 78, 79, 80. And Fair Warning, 81 to some extent. But after that, by the time they got to 1984, they had kind of fell out of being a rock band and were a pop band, pretty much, or a power pop band, if you want to call it that. So they just followed suit with several other artists I feel that way about, that really rocked. I mean, hard rock and heavy rocking in the 70s. And then by the time MTV comes along, summer of 81, it was all different. And, bands like, I'm speaking of bands like the ZZ Top, like Aerosmith, prime example, that became a pop band. Heart. Some of my favorite artists, REO Speedwagon, and these bands really rocked in the 70s. Well, so did Van Halen. And this album is really rocking, and the two-finger tapping, I think it's called, style of lead guitar, heavy metal, heavy rock lead guitar. This is what really put it on the map, this album and Eddie Van Halen. So let me introduce the band. I was going to finish by saying, so the guitar bands from the 70s, they didn't sound like this. I mean, they led up to this, but this kind of was different for its time, I think, and it just kind of bridges that gap between the heavy rock bands of the 70s, like Black Sabbath and Blue Oyster Cult and Boston and others, Bad Company, to some extent, heavy guitar rocking bands. This kind of bridges that, like taking that to the next level as far as showmanship, lead guitar. Eddie Van Halen's still one of the top, I'm sure, guitarists on Rolling Stone's list. I don't know how high. This album is on their top 500 albums of all time. I'm certain none of their others are, but this one is. And then I introduced the band. Here we got Eddie Van Halen, the younger of the two Van Halen brothers, born in Amsterdam, but after they were like 7 and 9, I think it's when they moved to Pasadena, California, and grew up there, and were playing in rock bands when they were in high school. His brother Alex Van Halen, 2 years older, he was born in 53, Eddie in 55. I may have said that reverse. Alex was older, the drummer. Michael Anthony, actually his full name, Michael Anthony Sobriewski. He went by Michael Anthony, the bass player down here. And then, of course, David Lee Roth, the lead singer. Pasadena, Indiana born, Pasadena transplant. Van Halen was playing around clubs in Pasadena and LA and all, in different areas of California from the time they were about 17 and 19 years old in local club circuit, and had not been really discovered, but they changed vocalists 2 years in. So it started in 1972. In 74, I think they met David Lee Roth, who they asked to borrow his sound system, like a friend of a friend kind of thing. And that's how he came to be their singer. I don't really know any more details of that, but obviously it worked out. 4 years later, after, 3 years later, is when they were really kind of signed and went into the studio to record their first album in late 77. And all this time they had been playing, opening for bands, and playing the club circuit. This album hit and it was huge. And we're about to hear some of it. It is very heavy rock, though there is some pop rock songs on here, or more melodic, not really heavy rock songs, power pop, but there is plenty of great heavy rock on this album for sure, much more so than would be on any of their future albums. Okay, let's start it off with the famous opening, or iconic opening for me. You hear this first beat. This is a first note, first beat, recognize this song kind of song. Wouldn't have to hear the second beat. This is called Eruption. It starts the album off. Just that. Most songs on this album, there's a great lead guitar in this song. I'm not going to spotlight it particularly. You're going to hear some. I misspoke. I said Eruption. I had the song on my mind. It's the second song. Obviously, that was Running with the Devil. That's the first track, and I think it's a great song to introduce them to the world, and it's still one of my very favorite songs by them. And so, we're going to play all of Eruption. It's less than 2 minutes long, but this is just an instrumental guitar solo that is considered one of the greatest rock guitar solos and most influential ever recorded. And it's really something else. We're going to let it go right into their great cover. And this was, right out of the gate, a heavy rock band covering a British rock band who wasn't quite as heavy, but maybe, somewhat. But that's the Kinks, and You Really Got Me. And I have to say, Van Halen did a great cover of it, in my opinion. That was obviously the commercial success, but just the sound of it, I think it's a real winner of a cover. Here we go, Eruption, leading into You Really Got Me. comes. Oh wow, I love that song. I have to say, I did not put it when I listed my top 5 covers of all time in that list, and it's probably not my top 5 rock covers, but it's definitely worth considering for my top 10 or 20 for sure. I do love that. Let me mention that all songs on here, other than those 2 covers they do, this song and a blues song on the other side we're going to hear, they're all written by all 4 members of the band. They're just credited as all songs otherwise by the 4 of them. Also, I wanted to show the picture sleeve. You do get the great logo on one side. Oh, I meant to bring their autographs in here. I mean, just David Lee Roth. I actually have his autograph. Should I tell that story? I forgot to bring my autograph in here. I'm gonna grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry for that pause. Maybe I'll edit that out. Yeah, sounds good. Oh, I have it framed. I painted that when I was in high school. And quick story, we staked out the hotel to get Van Halen's autographs, just like we always did. And there were a lot of people doing the same. So a little crowd down there in the lobby. He came through for a lunch or something to the restaurant from the elevator, and he had bodyguards and people kind of, a little entourage with him, around him, and they wouldn't let anyone close to him, and he just kind of waved, went on in. And then we heard a crash, and in the restaurant, like 5-10 minutes later, of dishes going everywhere or something, and he comes storming out, and he looked up, and I was just standing there. I was just kind of like, what's up? Or what happened? And he came up and he took my thing I was holding in my pen, and he signed this autograph and said thanks for not coming in there and interrupting my lunch or something like that. And he signed a few more for people that were still out there. And he got mad at some people that were gawking at him, that had got some people that went in there and got tables near him, and maybe went up and approached him. I don't know. Maybe he said something to the restaurant. They didn't do it. I don't know. Anyway, he must have thrown a tray at some point. That's a personal story of me and David Lee Roth. Okay, next song is a great rocker. Ain't Talking About Love. I gotta play it because it's one of my favorites too. This is just going down side 1 right now. and great lead break, but I don't want to make this too long an episode. Those are four of my favorite Van Halen songs of all time. Probably my favorite four, actually. The first four songs on side one. So I guess I could say after those first four songs, they steadily went down for me. Not to be too harsh on them. The last song, The One, I'm the One, is really, really great rocker. I liked Jamie's Crying for a long time until it was just so overplayed on the radio and all that I'm kind of tired of it. I'm actually not going to play Jamie's Crying. You probably know that song. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a good mid-tempo rocker. It's starting to lean a little towards pop rock. Okay, next song is Atomic Punk. I'm not going to play it. Or Feel Your Love Tonight. Or Little Dreamer. I'm going to skip on ahead to the next to last song. But those three songs are kind of pop rock. I mean, they have good guitar in them, and they're a little heavy in spots, but overall they're more catchy and melodic and not just a driving rock song. I'm going to play another one of those in a minute, but wow, that first side, that's classic for me. Okay, we're going to skip to their cover of Ice Cream Man, a song from the 40s or 50s from an artist, a blues artist, and tongue-in-cheek puns in the lyrics. But I'm going to play the acoustic opening. This is Dave. Well, as far as instruments, they're just guitar, bass, and drums on this album. I mean, keyboards didn't come along till later. Unfortunately, they did come along. Sorry, all you keyboard fans, but I don't really care for them with music like Van Halen. They're just bass, guitar, drums, but David Lee Roth plays the acoustic guitar on the acoustic part of this song. But this song really kicks and rocks, and they turned this cover of this blues song into kind of a rockabilly 50s style song. It's very catchy, but boy, it's got heavier guitar leads than they ever thought about having in the 50s.
Little dreamer.
Really good songs. I like side two, just not as much as side one.
Dedicate one to the lady. Sometimes your babe needs something to keep you cool. I know sometimes your babe needs something to keep you cool. Better look out now, though. Dave's got something for you. Tell you what it is. I'm your ice cream man, stop me when I'm passing by. On my mind, I'm your ice cream man, stop me when I'm passing by. Sing all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Hold on a second, baby. I gotta put my vanilla Dixie cups, all flavors and push-ups too. I'm your ice cream man, baby, stop me when I'm passing by.
Skip ahead a little bit. It's got one more verse like that, and then it starts cranking up. And it's got great lead guitar, some of the best on the album.
And if you let me cool you one time, you'll be my regular style. Alright, boys.
Man, what a great lead break there. Okay, I'm going to finish it with Probably my favorite deep cut on this album, a great straight ahead rocker, and I kind of like it that it doesn't have like an overly catchy poppy chorus. You know, it's just a good driving rocker called On Fire. On Fire. I can't finish it, but I mean, I would love to finish it. But wow, that's a great ender. I have to say, the more I play that song, the further it moves up my ladder as far as my favorite songs on this album. Oh, that one holds up well with the front side, I think. I love that style by Van Halen. Unfortunately, there would be no more of it. But their second album was great. It had Dance the Night Away, another great cover. I think is that Martha and the Vandells? I'm not sure. Maybe. I believe that was a cover. But another trivia thing I'd like to point out, a couple of things. One, I want to mention their layered background vocals on some songs that are very prominent. That is very prescient for sounds of like Def Leppard, for instance. In fact, I think Def Leppard probably had to be influenced by the first couple of Van Halen albums. Also, given their age, it makes sense. I think they were teenagers at this time or so. Anyway, the producer of this record is Ted Templeman. So a year later, he'd win the Grammy for producing Minute by Minute for the Doobie Brothers. So just another little tidbit there. Okay, thanks for tuning in. This is number 88. I'll be back soon, I hope, for episode 89. And thanks for tuning in to Waxing with Wade.